Let me first of all walk you very quickly through these 2 days of program that we have that are very intensive. We will have a number of presentations this afternoon from myself and my other colleagues, general managers of the Expo company. We think that the best thing is for you to show you the people that are behind the work and that will be working with you on this project, and the other managers in the Expo company that are fundamental for the implementation of the cluster project program that, as has been said by our Minister of State, Mr. Martina, is one of the key innovative projects of Expo Milano 2015. So this afternoon we will have these sessions. It will be concluded by a question and answer session. So we need and we want these 2 days of activities also to be interactive, to be the possibility for you to give us your impressions and answer to your questions. Tomorrow we have technical sessions that you have seen also in the program that are very important, both for the countries that are part of our assistance program for their presence to Expo, and also for the other countries that are in the cluster program. And finally, we will have a plenary session tomorrow afternoon with our Commissioner for Expo and CEO of the Expo company, Mr. Sala. We will have this intervention of the Secretary General of the BAE, Mr. Rosertales, and also our Deputy Foreign Minister that will close the session. I will start now with my general introduction presentation, and let me walk you through at what stage we are today of the cluster program. In this slide here, you see one important thing. What is the offer that we intend to make to the visitors that come to the Expo, and specifically that will come to see the 9 thematic clusters of Expo Milano 2015. This is important also for you to recognize yourself in what we are doing, because all of these elements, as you see, we are offering a unique architecture, that we are not only producing. We have worked through with you last year in all the phases of the design of the clusters. For us, these clusters have been done and have been designed together with you and together with the countries that have actively participated. We will present a unique food and beverage offer for the visitors, for the thousands of visitors that every day we believe will visit each of the clusters. This is also something that we will be doing both in the common areas of the clusters and within your pavilion. So it's important to coordinate, to work together between the organizer and the countries. We will have thematic exhibitions on the theme of the cluster in each of the clusters, and we will be working on this exhibition with you in the next few days and months. From each cluster, we will have a thematic itinerary for the visitor that will start from that cluster on that specific issue, but will touch also the pavilion of the different countries of the Expo that want to join inside. So we have also some important countries today present that are countries that are doing self-built pavilions, but want to actively participate also in the different clusters through this element of the thematic itineraries that will start from each of the clusters. But most of all, visitors will come to discover your countries, so to discover the contribution that each of your country will be taking inside the thematic cluster. And this is the key of the work that we need to do together. You define and you decide the story that you want to tell, but we are here to help you, to support, to provide quality, to help you to make this presentation and this interaction with the visitor as most successful as possible. Finally, as you see here, the events. The events are extremely important. In our country, normally, and in the million of visitors that will come also from Europe, normally you don't necessarily go to see something. You go to a place because something happens there. And that is part of our culture. So what will happen in the cluster, what will happen in your pavilions, the program of events for our culture, for our visitors is fundamental. And this is what we need to work together with you to provide a unique offer. So next slide. We want now to update you on what is the situation of the participation on the cluster. First of all, as Expo Milano 2015, we have now signed 90 participation contracts. Of these, 43 are contracts for the presence of the cluster. So 43 countries have already been allocated within the different clusters. We have had last year 9 meetings of the different clusters and around 100 bilateral meetings with all the different countries interested in coming inside the clusters. We have done an impressive work together, up to today, 27 of you have presented the theme statement. And as you know, is one of the key documents that is needed to define your participation, the participation of your country. This is an important effort, but we need to do more. So my first and key message to all of you, to all the countries that still have not signed, have not given to us the theme statement, please provide it to us in the next few weeks. The theme statement is key because based on that, we will be working and collaborating to you for what regards the internal exhibition of your pavilion. So that is a very important moment. So what are we asking you to concentrate in the next days, starting from today? Those of you that have not signed the participation contract, please do that. We will see some of the clusters are running out of space. So either you sign the contract or we cannot provide you the space inside the cluster. And those of you that have already signed the contract need to submit to us the theme statement. But let's see in the next few slides what is the situation of the different clusters. We will run that through. This is the biggest of the thematic clusters, is the Bio-Mediterranean cluster, and as you see, is almost filled up. We have only 2 spaces. Actually, one of those 2 that is remaining, we will most likely sign the contract next week. So we are, full for what regards this cluster. As you see, generally speaking, in the clusters, we have allocated 96% of the space available. So the importance of signing the contract is also due to the fact that if you want to be sure to have a place in that cluster, you have to sign very quickly the contract, or not, there's a possibility you won't have that space. You see other clusters here. You have the cereals and tuber cluster. Also, that is only one space that is left. You have the arid zone cluster. We still have 3 or 4 spaces, but we are discussing with several countries that we will be closing the contract in the next few weeks. Moreover, we have, you see the fruit and cereals cluster, also that we have only 1 space left, so it's almost gone. We have the spices cluster that is also filling up very quickly. Another one that is 95% complete is the coffee cluster. We have already 9 countries that have signed the contract in that cluster, and there's only 1 space left. Another one that is really in the next few days will be closed. It won't be possible to participate anymore. Going forward, the rice cluster, as you see, we have already contractualized 4 countries, and then we have the cocoa cluster. So, as you see, we are filling up very quickly. These are only the spaces that we have signed the contract, but on each of the spaces that are still available, we have different countries that have expressed and have booked that space. And as we said, 96% of the exhibition spaces have been assigned. We need to work hard, but especially you need to run if you want to have a place in the cluster and still you have not signed the contract. Going forward, one very important thing about the cluster is that we are not only at the project phase of the clusters. We are today in the side of Expo building the clusters. So we have, in last year, finalized all the tenders for the design and the construction of the cluster. They have already been assigned. And actually, you see from the pictures here, we are already realizing the foundations and the excavations of all the clusters. They have been divided in 3 lots of work, so the 9 clusters. And as you see in the slide, in the dates that you have up on the right, in March, April, and May, we will finish the excavation and foundation of the cluster. From that moment, we will start to build the overall structure. You will have Matteo Gatto, that is in charge of the project of the cluster, illustrate to you when we will provide to you the clusters ready in order for you to enter in the pavilion and start your work. But this is just to say that we're working, the cluster being built, and we are on time. We need also you to be on time with us with all the different phases, because from this moment onwards, we will be looking, and this will be expressed in the next presentation, to the internal organization, the internal design of your cluster, and that is something that will be done either with us together with you or by you alone, but that is the phase in which you start to enter very heavily inside this project. Next slide. This is another key element of our clusters that Piero Galli, that will speak later in this afternoon, will express to you very clearly. But the idea of having the cluster is that the clusters are in a sort of the connection of 2 of the key principles of our Expo. We need to do a thematic expo. For this reason, we have provided thematic clusters and not the old geographical joint pavilions of previous expos. And secondly, the cluster is the synthesis of the collaborative approach of our expo. We can do the clusters if we collaborate together. And this collaboration extends not only to the organizer and the countries, that obviously is the key collaboration, but to a number of other subjects that we are calling to work with us and with you in order to realize these clusters. And as you see here, we have different kinds of collaborations. We have on one side the partners, of which Piero will tell you later, that we have found through public offer proposals. But these partners have come out to be different. We have institutions like the region Sicily that have offered to collaborate in the Mediterranean cluster. We have companies like Illy, that is one of the top coffee companies in Italy that is the partner of the coffee cluster, and so on and so forth. So these entities will be providing expertise and support to us as an organizer in order to work with you and propose the best possible solutions for the common areas of the clusters. Obviously, for what regards the pavilions that you have inside the cluster, that is your domain, and you organize yourself best as possible, and then we help you also for what are your needs on that. Then we have those entities that are collaborating with us on the content of the clusters. We are working with United Nations. They have a team that works full-time on the Expo, and I'm happy to welcome them here together with us. You will have met several of them, and they will help us in providing content to the thematic exhibitions inside the clusters. We are working with the European Commission. We have universities, and we have civil society engagement. This is just to tell you that it's a complex exercise with many entities together, but we think that this is the guarantee for the quality and the success of what we want to achieve. What we want to achieve are exhibition areas that will be some of the most visited inside the World Expo in 2015. Now I would like to introduce you the presentations that you will have after me. We would like today to show you how a cluster works. How do we imagine that it will work in the common area and all the activities that we will be doing together. As you see here, we have inside the clusters two different things. Obviously, the countries with their own individual spaces in which I believe you will appreciate that we are offering to countries individual pavilions, so not stands inside bigger structures, but really their own individual and clearly recognizable pavilion. And then we have a common area in which we work all together. Obviously, it's under responsibility of the organizer, but in order to do this, we are engaging partners that have the expertise, the capability to help us to do that, and we will be working together. So this is a common and shared responsibility. It's a complex project, but there's one thing that is clear in our mind: we cannot do this in a successful way without your contribution. Next slide. This is my closing slide. It's just to tell you clearly what do we need to do. In order to achieve this, we need to have common rules. We need to agree on what we need to do together. And this is what we are asking you as an organizer, and we are ready to support you in all this. First of all, what is key to the Expo, and this will be clearly stated also by our Commissioner and CEO tomorrow, is time. You know that we have to open the 1st of May 2015, and that does not move. That day is there and doesn't change. We have all to be ready. So we need you to speed up the participation process. As I said at the beginning, you have not signed the contract, you have to sign it. You have not given us the theme statement, you have to give it to us. That is urgent. So you see, sign the participation contract. Another important thing, when you participate in a cluster, we expect you to have a team that works with you. This is because we are not providing you a small space. You have a pavilion inside this cluster. This pavilion not only has to work inside, but has then to interact with all the rest of the common areas and all the activities that we will have there. In order to do that, you need a proper team for your participation in the Expo. We need to be sure that you are setting up this team, that we can engage with this team and work together with you. You have to submit, as I said, the theme statement. If you have not done that, we will provide you during today and tomorrow a number of deadlines. We need to have some things done before a certain date. It's important that you keep and you meet those deadlines. We have to work on quality. So the quality is what people will look for. The visitors will come, and we believe very, very numerous in the clusters, but only if we define a quality. There's something that I always say to the participants of the Expo: in our country, visitors will not come to the Expo because we tell them to come. Actually, when our government tells to our people to do something, Maurizio Martina knows it, for a point they will not do it. So the question is, they will come if they believe that what we are doing is attractive. If we are doing a project that they cannot miss, they have to come to the Expo, and that is our common challenge. Finally, we have set up very simple rules for the clusters. We need to respect them all together. So I will close my intervention just telling you that you have to save one date. We will see all of us together at the next international participant meeting for all the participating countries of Expo, and this will be taking place in December of this year, 5 months before the opening of the Expo, so that will be really the general meeting all together before the launch of the Expo. In the meantime, we will obviously intensively work together with you on a bilateral basis on all the issues that are open. So let me now pass the floor to our people that are working so hard on the cluster project. The first person that I'm inviting here to the podium is Filippo Ciantia. Many of you know Filippo. Filippo is the manager inside the Expo company that coordinates the cluster program. That is a horizontal project that interfaces with all the different general divisions of the Expo company. So Filippo will run you more in detail inside the cluster and the aspects of the cluster project. Thank you very much.